We have a lot to discuss walking out of this week number 3 morning and afternoon slate of games. We obviously have the Sunday night football game to come, but we've got a lot of stuff, good and bad. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad. This was a very mixed bag type of week. We have players like Roshan, Jahmyr Gibbs crapping the bed. Kelsey's back. We've got Devon A-Chain, one of our top go-get players and hold stashes, in a lot of cases, starts of the week. A-Chain went out and exploded with 4 touchdowns, 212 yards rushing. Tank Dell was a monster. Tank Dell is him. But there is a lot of good and bad. And we're going to break it all down right now. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday,
8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So, mixed bag indeed. There are so many things that went right and wrong in trade A-Chain for CMC, says Overcome. Yeah, Fields definitely is not good, and I don't know if that's going to change. But, you know, you got to adjust and adapt. We can't sit here and linger on certain things. I know a lot of you want me to, like, I don't know, just punish myself for 15 minutes here just with some sort of, like, whip and just continue to hit myself. Look, I've taken a lap on Fields already. Doesn't mean he can't bounce back in some way, shape, or form later. But right now, he is freaking, probably not going to be in any lineups going forward. Let's see here. Left A-Chain on the bench. Bro, you couldn't have known in some cases. You know, this was a player that we said make sure you get him, make sure you stash him. League winning potential coming down the pike, but you couldn't have known in some cases. There are a lot of people that had a very close call between A-Chain and, let's say, a freaking, Zay Flowers, and you went Zay Flowers, or A-Chain in London, A-Chain and Garrett Wilson, A-Chain and Breece Hall. A lot of you had some dilemmas that at the time you can't kick yourself over it, but A-Chain went out and exploded. I had him in the Marsman League. I still lost because I went up against Mostert and Tua in that league, and Kenneth Walker. So I did really well in that league. I had a very amazing season. So let's get to the positives and the negatives. I would say, look, before we get into any negatives, let's just sit here and say to ourselves, look, we own this guy. We're starting to moving forward. Devon A-Chain came out with 18 rushes, 212 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground, an additional 4 receptions for 30 yards, and an additional 2 touchdowns, 4 TDs. Absolute monster. Absolute monster, this guy. And so here we are, now left with a lot of dilemmas, maybe not dilemmas, of who to bench for Devon A-Chain, but he is a starter moving forward. You have to put him into your lineup. He is an absolute must go in your lineup moving forward. And Mostert too, but imagine if Mostert goes down, and he's so injury prone. And knock on wood, I don't want him to get hurt, not wishing injury upon anybody. But if this guy goes down, if Mostert goes down, imagine what A-Chain would have done. I'm not saying he would have scored 8 touchdowns, but goodness gracious, man. The guy had 4 touchdowns, and Mostert had just as good of a day. A-Chain beat him out by, maybe 5 or 10 points, depending on your scoring. But wow, this is a must-start go forward. Tank Dell is him. Tank Dell is a must-start no matter what. I mean, your dilemma could be Garrett Wilson. Your dilemma could be London. Your dilemma could be really anything. There can't be a player that comes in and puts your freaking Dell on the bench. Okay. There's certain people that are just going to go wild in the chat. You're going to be removed. If you're not going to be a productive part of the chat, you will be removed from the chat. Because there's a certain few of you that keep coming in and saying, this is going wrong, this is going wrong. There's a lot going wrong. No one's running from it. I got the players on screen. We're going to talk about it. But be productive in the chat or you will be removed. I'm not putting up with it today. A-Chain is 100% a must go. Dell 100% a must go, as I was trying to say. 145 yards and a touchdown. What an absolute monster. And go forward, you have no dilemma, because any dilemma you have is with another player. This guy is your wide receiver 2 or your high-end wide receiver 3 go forward. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. 145 yards, 7 targets, touchdown. Guy's an absolute beast. Let me put these guys over in the corner here. Here was our buy low walking into the week. I still firmly stand behind buying low on Watson, even though he didn't play. A.J. Brown. Eckler's a great buy low. Total avoid on draft day, but a great buy low because his owners are hurting right now, and he might even be back next week. Jaylen Warren, I believe he will be soon a guy people want to go after and get. I do believe eventually this guy is going to take over at least 50% of the workload. Smitty nailed Tank and Walker. I didn't nail everything. I'm not going to sit here and pat myself on the back and say, A-Chain, Walker, Tank Dell, what a great week for everything that was Smitty. I'm not an idiot, and I'm also not going to run from the fact that Fields is playing like dog shit, that T-Law didn't play at all. Did T-Law even play? I don't even know. Ridley dropped the ball. I still firmly believe in Ridley. He's still a top 15 overall player to me. But he dropped the football. Another one of the touchdown receptions was a PI where the defensive back had his hand on him, and you can't really blame that one on him. But Walker absolutely exploded as well. There's some good today, some really good. Walker had 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 3 receptions for 59 yards. Absolute monster. Kelsey bounced back in a major way. Obviously, we want more out of Kelsey because 69 yards and touchdowns kind of mid for Kelsey, but he looks phenomenal. His girlfriend Taylor Swift was in the stands. That's motivating him. I'm not feeling like that's a distraction. This was a good positive thing. There's a lot of good media. Sometimes that whole vibe and dynamic can tank a player, but this one feels pretty good. I think Kelsey's heading to the moon. Kelsey's heading to the moon. It's gonna be rose petals and white doves from here on out. ETN was very stellar, 88 yards, 4 catches for 50 yards. I love that he's catching 3, 4, 5 passes a game. ETN's a fantastic running back. Go forward. Definitely in the realm of running back 1 conversation, because running back 1s are falling apart. I don't even know if we did a running back ranking right now. I don't know what I would do. I don't know where I would put what player at this point. We don't know who's running back 4 or 5 or 6 anymore. It's literally like, where's Pollard now? Do you feel as good about Pollard this week as you did last week? Do you feel like there's anybody near Christian McCaffrey right now? And is Bijan still your number 2 running back? Or after 1 week, are people jumping ship on him? And I think they are. I don't think they're necessarily gonna run away, sell him dirt cheap, but I believe people will turn toward trade if trade looks tempting. I believe that after 1 week, last week coming off his 100-yard performance, he was everybody's running back 2. Everybody's at that point, because who was number 2 if it wasn't Bijan? The running back landscape is in shambles. In shambles. My question is, who is the running back 2? Is it Bijan? If it's not Bijan, who is it? Who's number 3? Who's number 4? I would love to see what you guys think in the chat. Drop your prediction in the chat. Who are the top 5 running backs? Let's drag some of them on screen. Top 5 running backs. I'll drag them on screen. Drop them right now in the chat, and let's see what you guys think. Because honestly, this is a debate for the ages. And yes, Keenan Allen's playing out of his mind right now. That's another one I got wrong. But for everybody coming at me today, look, and I'm willing to take the lumps. Look, Keenan Allen's playing great. There are players that have absolutely been total avoids that we've nailed along the way. So let's not pretend Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler in terms of drafting him and all these other players, J.K. Dobbins, one after the other. We were pretty much on point. JT, trade for him. Doesn't mean we didn't say don't draft him. Cooper Kupp, stay away from him. So let's stop with the whole negative vibe, okay? What's happened. We're here to fix things. Okay, so let's see what you guys think. Let's see if anybody has Let's see if anybody has their ranking. CMC, Walker, Monsters, Bijan, Taylor. What's going to be interesting is if we're ranking our running backs moving forward, how many people are willing to say, okay, Walker's in the top 5, which is phenomenal. Remember the Charbonnet, remember what we said is we walk out of the first couple weeks and we hear analysts everywhere say, oh, I guess we shouldn't have been that worried about Charbonnet. Walker looks phenomenal. He's definitely in the top 5. Here's Smooth Criminals ranking. CMC, Walker, Monsters, Bijan, Taylor. I agree Bijan's absolutely in the top 5. I believe that Austin Eckler, once he gets healthy, could be in there, but he's still a concern for getting hurt. I believe that JT, Kamara are conversation pieces for borderline top 5 material. And that's where I think we direct our attention like we have been all week. Kamara, going and getting JT, going and getting A-Chain, that's off the table now. Make sure he's not in waivers. I have a feeling he's in waivers. He's on waivers. He's in waiver wire pools to a degree where we're going to have to put him on the waiver wire list and talk about him. Thank you, Chester. Appreciate you. And also, Smitty, even though I didn't start him, I have Tank Dell in 2 leagues. Good job, Andre. Appreciate you. Appreciate your kind comments. Mostert to the moon. Look, Mostert, as long as he stays healthy, Mostert is going to be unbelievable, as will A-Chain. And if one of them goes down, that running back's in the top 10. Doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter if it's Mostert. Doesn't matter if it's A-Chain. Mostert will have to be considered a top 10 running back if A-Chain were to go down or if anything were to happen to Mostert. A-Chain's a top 10 running back. ETN top 5. I could agree with that. Niner Rick says Gibbs is trash. I don't agree with that. I think Gibbs did fairly well. He had 4.7 yards per carry. He ripped off a nice run. They just didn't use him right. That's part of the problem. And will that change? To say Gibbs is trash, let's stop talking about Gibbs being trash or Breece Hall's trash. Their situations are concerning. And their situations might be trash. Not the player. Not the player. Let's see here. Fantasy-wise, A-Chain had the 8th best performance ever. I mean, it was unbelievable. A-Chain's game was phenomenal, bro. Phenomenal. A-Chain went nuts. A-Chain's a monster. A-Chain's a monster. Gibbs is decent. Gibbs did fairly well considering. 4.7 yards a carry. The problem is his situation. The question we have to ask ourselves is, will the situation change? Because situation you cannot separate from player. Will Gibbs get the work he needs to become the player he could become? He's not trash, but we have to ask ourselves, will the situation allow it? Will the situation allow it? Please tell me you're off this Breece and Gibbs train. Frederick, no, I'm not. If the price is right, they're better buy lows than ever, but that doesn't mean you're expecting what you were expecting. Now you're buying them low. But we are 3 weeks into football. You've got to admit you're a little overreactive if you think that in football, a sport where you could become the starter or get work from week 5, 6, or 7 on and still be a top 10 running back. Let's not act like there isn't hope for Breece Hall to still become a monster. The problem I have with Breece Hall is his situation is garbage. And unless the team decides to move in a different direction at quarterback, like go and get Carson Wentz, who's not a great quarterback from a football perspective, but he at least throws the football down the field. We've got Garrett Wilson hampered and imprisoned in this situation. We've got Breece Hall imprisoned in this situation, and it's not necessarily going to fix itself. So we have to, buy low where we can. I still think Hall and Gibbs are still good buy lows, but that doesn't mean. So John says Gibbs can't handle 20 plus touches on the ground. He's not built like that. What makes you say that based on what you've seen though? What makes you think that he can't be a between the tackle running back? Not to mention, we're not asking him to run 20 carries between the tackles. We're asking him to be a total Alvin Kamara type running back. The question is, will they give him the ball? Will they give him the ball? I don't know. That's why we're buying low, though, bro. We're not going out there and buying him. And if you own him already, you got to hold him. What are you going to do? Sell Gibbs off for what? What are you going to get rid of Gibbs for? Who's going to buy Gibbs at the price tag you want? All right. So let's hit these super chats real quick. Actually, let me get to the news real quick, and then we'll get to the super chats. I appreciate you all being here. We got 659 of you in here. Punch that thumb up button on your way in the door. Travis Kelce doing work. We got Justin Jefferson coming in strong with 149 yards. Had a little bit of a scare, but it ended up being cramps. Touchdown. Finally scored a touchdown. 149 yards. Mostert again doing amazing work. Mostert for 82 yards, 3 touchdowns. 7 receptions for 60 yards and a touchdown. Hard to believe A-Chain outscored him, but A-Chain outscored him. It was crazy. It was madness. It was unbelievable. It was such a fun game to watch. This one right here, Jerome Ford, 10 times for 18 yards, but he had a touchdown. He also had another score and 33 yards on 2 receptions. So this could be a sell-high player because the volume wasn't what we wanted. But he still scored, and I think that gives you an opportunity to sell. Not saying sell low, not saying give up on him, but definitely could be a solid go-get. Kamara, definitely an amazing go-get. If you could trade Gibbs for Kamara or JT, I would Smitty approve that. I just don't know that those owners will do that. So you got to be careful with how you're giving away Gibbs. Do I trade him for a JT? Sure. Do I trade him for a Kamara? Absolutely. But those are tough gets right now. I don't know that those owners will be interested, but maybe they will be. Ramondre, 19 carries for 59 yards. This was an awful game for Ramondre, and you got to panic a little bit about Ramondre. Not the best game. Calvin Ridley definitely disappointed. 3 of 7 for 40 yards. Really dropped 1 touchdown and had another one kind of ripped out of his arms. So, you know, I'm definitely not fearful of him moving forward, but I definitely am disappointed that we've left a couple touchdowns, 3 touchdowns on the table over the last 2 weeks. Derek Carr, believed to have suffered an AC sprain. This is a lot lesser than everybody thought, which is good, but he still could be out a couple weeks, so monitor that. Tank Dell again blew up. A-Chain blew up, 145 and 1 touchdown for Tank. What a day. And A-Chain, one of the best fantasy football running back games of all time. 18 rushes for 212 yards and 2 touchdowns, and 4 receptions for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I had him in the Marsman League, and I'm still going to lose because I was going up against freaking Mostert, Tua, and Walker all on the same team. Mark Cleveland, hats off to you. It went back and forth. It said he was going to win 60, 70%, and then A-Chain put me right into the driver's seat. Said I was going to win by 70%, and then as soon as Walker started going off, I just lost it, and it's down to like 5% now. So hats off to Mark Cleveland. Nice job. Tank Dell is him. That's correct. Derek Carr is a nobody. Well, Cito, it's good news is we got both Derek Carr and Winston there for Olave, who still did well. Olave did great. McKinnon did great. McKinnon and Pacheco had some good days. Those are 2 players that have been kind of slacking from the Moon Man that have played well today. Olave did fantastic. Walker did unbelievable, as you can see on screen. There's good and bad. There's pros and cons to every week, it seems. I can't wait till we get finally 1 week that feels well-rounded. And the thing you got to keep in mind is everybody is thinking me. My team's bad. My team didn't do well. No one else is struggling. I'm just telling you right now, this is a very bad week overall for fantasy football, as was week 1. Week 2 was a little bit better, but week 1 and week 3 have been very, very bad across the board for a lot of big name players. And there are a ton of people that feel the exact same way as you. And I know it feels like it's you. I know in the league where you may have lost, if you won 2 leagues and lost 2 leagues, you feel crappy as if you lost all 4. And you need to remember, there is the league where you dominated. And there is the league where you got worked over and the person that dominated you is losing 2 leagues. Everybody's facing some sort of adversity with their team and their lineup. Not everybody's perfect. Nobody's rolling out. I've got all the 7 guys going off on one roster, unless that happened to you this week. At least not across all of their leagues. So relax a little bit before you start over panicking and starting to just give away players. Super chats here real quick. I got Tucker with a $2 hauler. Trade Cooper and Garrett Wilson before the 1 o'clock game. You traded Garrett Wilson. You traded Cooper for Garrett Wilson before the 1 o'clock game. I mean, bro, you know, hopefully the Jets can figure something out and get a quarterback in there that can throw missiles to Garrett Wilson. Otherwise, I don't know what's going to change. But we do need something to change. If Puka doesn't play Monday night, who should I pick up on waivers? Van Jefferson. I'd probably say Van, but I don't know that that's going to be a problem. We'll have to wait and see. Everything I've heard is he's going to play. So I wouldn't worry too much, but stay on top of it in case something changes. A setback, obviously. Is Kelly droppable after today? Ship Henry away. Depends on what you can get. Kelly's droppable if you can pick up somebody that's worth picking up. I can't just tell you blanket statement, yeah, drop him. It depends who you can pick up. This family makes losing not feel like losing to the Moon fam. Appreciate you, Freddie. Freddie, you got this, bro. Comeback season is upon you, my guy. Don't you worry one single bit. We panic on Bijan. I would say no, John. I would say there's some reason to like perk up a little bit and like wonder why didn't they feed him the way they should have fed him this week. But keep in mind that off of last week, week 2, he was everybody's like running back 2. 120 plus yards. He's running back 2. And now 1 week is transpired and everybody's already panicking on him. Sit Brees, yeah, probably until it depends on who you have, but sit Brees until we have some sort of change. Definitely. Traded Gibbs for Walker. That's phenomenal. Walker's playing like a monster, and Walker, they're both players that are ultra talented. One's got a great situation. The other, for right now, does not appear to have as great a situation as we want. But could that change? Garrett Wilson, hopefully Garrett Wilson ends up getting a different quarterback real soon. Garrett Wilson is still at 9 targets, but man, they're bad targets. That's the problem overcome. They need to get another quarterback in there, and they need to throw the football to him like at the line of scrimmage like Deebo Samuel, which is crazy. Dotson, a drop. I wouldn't say a drop, but a bench until further notice. T-Law, B-Hall, Dotson really did bad again, lost again. What should I do? Still have Tank, Olave, Love, Kamara. Should I panic? No, don't panic on, you could sit Hall depending on your option, but Ridley, don't panic on Ridley. Obviously, Tank, Olave, and Love ended up having a great second half. He gets his number 1 running back and probably his number 1 wide receiver back. Imagine a quarterback going out there playing without their number one running back and their number 1 wide receiver, when their running back is also probably their second best wide receiver. And everyone's all over Jordan Love right now. I get the T-Law doubt right now, and I understand it. And I don't blame anybody for benching T-Law until he proves it. But Jordan Love scored 2 touchdowns, had a nice little comeback, and has been without his number 1 and number 2 overall players on offense. Not just 2 good players, not his second wide receiver and his running back. His star running back, top 5 to 7 running back, a star wide receiver that could be a top 12 wide receiver. So I still believe that Love is an absolute solid starter go forward. I'm not wavering on Love. Fields and B. Hall or T. Lawrence and Gibbs. I'd rather have T. Lawrence and Gibbs because Fields is not looking good at all right now. And I know T. Law had a horrible game, but there's a lot of weapons there, and I still like the offense when it's clicking. So they'll have to figure some things out, but I think you have much better chance of rebounding on that side. Plus, Gibbs got the work. He just didn't get touchdowns. If Gibbs would have had one of those touchdowns when he's down near the goal line, it would have been a whole different thing. Dynasty teams are in shambles. We need a dynasty show. Okay, Sick Nasty, we'll work on doing a dynasty show real soon. Appreciate you. I love Dell. My concern is, can Stroud continue to support 3 wide receivers? That doesn't really matter because Dell is the number 1. So I disagree. You could argue that Nico's the number 1, but Dell's the number 1 to me. So I think that if anybody suffers, it's not going to be Tank Dell. Tank Dell's also his best friend, bro. They're like best buddies. And Stroud wanted him drafted. He basically commanded it. Elite handcuff. I'd say I wouldn't call it elite handcuff, but I'd say definitely a must handcuff. You must have handcuff. Some of these running back situations are a necessity to cuff at this point because of how crazy everything is. You guys still believe in Mike McCarthy? Says Sacktown. This is the concern with McCarthy coming in and changing something that worked. It casts some concern over Pollard's workload at the end of the day. So we're definitely going to be concerned about that. But I think, he's still a freaking top 5 running back, because the climate is crazy too for top 5 running backs. It's not like top 5 running backs, there's a lot of great options. It really is. After Walker and Bijan, who people still question, and obviously CMC, and then now you've got this group of players that we're going to argue are top 4 or 5, which is fine, but it just means there's no certainty at the running back position at all. The running back position's been decimated. JT, JK, Eckler, Henry, it's been decimated, absolutely decimated. And then you got bus players right now that littered the top like 5 to 15. It's not just somebody that was on our. The problem with the Moon Men list, and this is where sometimes I feel like it gets me in trouble, is when you have a Moon Men list and a Mars Men list. When you put your balls on the line to put like 12 to 15 guys in the forefront of your show, it really puts more of an emphasis on that and makes that the show. Everything's hinging upon 12 to 15 guys. And other shows don't do that. Other shows just say a bunch of stuff. And I'm not saying I don't say a bunch of stuff too, but they get away with not having players in the forefront. For me, I risk a lot by putting 12 to 15 guys in the forefront, because then everybody attaches everything to it. The success of this show lives and dies by the 12 guys that I hit the button for and show. And I risk it. And I'm not saying I regret doing it when things don't go well. When things go great, it's fantastic. And there are still a lot of Moon Men that are doing well. Okay, and let's not act like Ridley's not still an elite player. Ridley's still an amazing player. He was everybody's top 5, 6, 7 wide receiver before this week right here. Let's not pretend like Kenneth Walker's not going nuts. Let's not pretend like we don't have a handful of Moon Men that are doing well. But when I put these guys in the forefront, it does make everybody attach to those 12 things. And that's it. And so, like, you know, things like A-Chain, it's like, oh, we came in and said, buy A-Chain. A-Chain can win you a league. He's a league winner. I didn't say A-Chain was good. I said A-Chain will win you a league. A-Chain's a league winner. But that's not a Moon Man. That's not a Mars Man. So that only gets half credit. That only gets a quarter credit. You know, and Tank Dell, Moon Man as well. Like, it is what it is. And I think that we need to be a little bit careful of being so judgmental early on when we're literally still not even fully through 3 weeks. There's still 3 games to go. So it is what it is. I put myself in that position, but I just want to say there's more to the show than the 12 or 15 Moon Men and Mars Men. That is not the only content that's created. And I think it goes unnoticed when we start talking about other players that aren't on those lists, which is why this is why everyone got mad when I'm talking about doing an in-season rolling Moon Man list, which part of me is so frustrated by the fact that it bothers so many people that we're going to have another list. They want something new. Like, maybe we don't. Maybe we do have a list that says players that are hot that will continue to be hot. Players that are cold that'll continue to be cold. Players that we think are going to jump into the hot category. I don't know. I'll think about it over the weekend. But it does drive me nuts that we created an in-season Moon Man list, and yet that has problems. People have problems with that because we're not sticking to what we said in the preseason when things revolve and change. Let's see here. Derek, did Denver even make it to Miami? I don't think so, bro. I don't think they showed up at all. I don't think they showed up at all. Ray, appreciate you. Smitty, you're the best in the biz. Appreciate you. Sitting nice on top with 3-0. And, you know, some people have the right combinations of everybody too, and some people don't. And that's the nature of fantasy football. But I still appreciate you all. Panic Chamber is lit. We're going to probably have to do a Panic Chamber here really, really soon. We're going to have to do one really, really, really soon. $5 hauler from that boy. This is my submission for Stroud to be a trip to take a trip to the moon. CJ is an absolute gem. He's looking really good right now, and boy, do they look really, really solid as a team. This is an up and coming squad that I love. Connor looks solid. He did. Look, I'll take my lap on Connor too. Connor's been great. I always worry about him getting hurt, but he's running tough. And the Cardinals, my Cardinals, they don't even know how to dive right. They keep looking good. The Cardinals are putting up a fight. Maybe Gannon's a good coach after all. And so, until further notice, Connor is a must play. I don't care what the matchup is. I said this myself yesterday and the day before, and I went against it today. We can't let matchups influence anything at this point. Like the Dallas Cowboys, I know they're down a man, but they're still a Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be a tough start for James Conner. No, it wasn't. Matchups don't even matter anymore. They don't matter. You can't sit anybody. You can't sit anybody that has a bad matchup if they're the right play based on talent. If they're a stud, and especially to your lineup, if they're a stud. Connor looked good. Connor looked real good. Thank you for the super chats, broskies. Mac with a super chat. Comp player value for A-Chain and Quentin Johnson with Mike Williams out. Comp player value for A-Chain and Quentin Johnson. Comp player value. What do you mean? Like, where's Mike Williams? Where's Quentin Johnson going to go? I would say, like, that's a tough one, bro. That's a really, really tough one. I would say, like, maybe Quentin Johnson could play like a lesser version of Christian Kirk, or Zay Jones when Zay Jones is back. Like, hit and miss each week, but solid. Maybe even Kirk. Kirk's going to be up and down too, but definitely think he could be that level with Mike Williams out. And Mike Williams looked like he probably tore his ACL at this point. But we'll find out more. It looks like a torn ACL. We'll find out more tomorrow for confirmation on it. But it buckled. He was holding the back. Whenever you hold the back, that's usually whenever you tear your ACL, the first thing you do is you ironically hold the back of your knee, because the pain right here in the middle of your knee, you kind of feel it through the back more than anything, because you got the kneecap, the patellar tendon, even though it's in the exact middle of the joint. The patellar tendon, the kneecap, that's a lot thicker. So it's almost like you feel like you can get to it quicker by pushing pressure on the back. So when you tear your ACL, you usually always hold the back of your knee. And so it looks like it's probably his torn ACL. As far as A-Chain, I mean, Alvin Kamara, bro. A-Chain has Alvin Kamara potential. He does. I don't know if the volume will be there all year. I hope to God it is. And if it is, he's going to explode. Thanks for your hard work. Can I drop JSN for Dell now? I mean, I don't drop JSN, but I do pick up Dell. And if you have to make that call, I mean, you got to take Tank Dell. Smitty, when are you going to put some respect on Tua's name? I have. Tua is playing out of his mind, bro. He's playing out of his mind. And the Dolphins, that Miami Mike offense is unreal. Tua to the moon right now. Everyone on that roster to the moon. They're the most fun team to watch in football, period, right now. Period. Raheem was beastly. OMG. Top 10. Love the content. But is A-Chain and Mostert together, bro? Like, who knows which one's going to be better than the other in the coming weeks. They're both absolutely fire. And A-Chain outscored Mostert. And Mostert was one of the top running back performances we've seen in years, which is crazy. Start Dell over D-Hop or Garrett Wilson. I'm going to start Dell over both of those guys moving forward, guaranteed, without even a hesitation, without even a millisecond of stuttering or anything, bro. Hey, love your content, dude. I'm 2-0, but down 70 right now. Mayfield, Mixon, Higgins, and Myers left. Probably not doable. It depends on your scoring, like if it's 6 points per TD pass and some other things, but that is a tall order. But certainly possible. It's certainly possible, bro. What if Baker has 2 touchdowns and 250 yards? What if Mixon has 100 yards and a touch? What if Higgins has, 100 and a touch, and Myers? It's definitely possible, bro. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but certainly a tall order. What's the probability say as far as you winning? I'd be interested to know. Not that that's always right, but it sometimes is a pretty good indication about how close it could be, at least. Yeah. Let's see here. Smitty, you have to have a crystal ball and be 100% correct on every player because they don't know ball and can't help themselves. It's okay. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm merely just expressing a little bit of a frustration of, when you put everybody out there like I do on a Moon Man list, a 12 to 15 player list, everything's dependent on that. No matter what you said about A-Chain, no matter what you said about this or that, if they're not on the Moon Man list and you do what I do, it puts a big spotlight on those names. And if I get those names wrong, and people will draft just off the Moon Man list, even though I'll tell people to diversify and not draft all Moon Men. You can't just draft a team full of all Moon Men or Mars Men. It's not necessarily how it works. And I caution people against that. People do it anyway, and then if 3 or 4 or 5 or half of them start out slow, or even maybe 40% of them bust, I would not say that we're even there yet with some of these guys, calling them a bust 3 weeks in. That's an overreactive Roger. There's definitely assumptions that need to be made and moves that need to be made in terms of benching a player and doing this and that. But diversity is everything across leagues. Smitty, keep doing your the Crybabies. This is the best show on the platform. Nothing like it. Sincerely, your boy Jay. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you. It's okay. No worries, guys. I'm not. It's just, it's just sometimes it's frustrating, but most times I don't really care. I'm able to let it roll off. But it's like we are winning on a lot of things, but we are also losing on a lot of things, and that's just being real. And you're gonna hit and miss. And the people that get so bent out of shape because you said somebody was gonna do well, or you say, hey, I didn't think Connor was gonna do well, and Connor does well, that's all they gravitate towards. They don't gravitate towards anything else. They don't gravitate toward any of the other positives. They just want to come in here and shake a tree and just cause a little drama, and that's okay to a degree. But people that do it over and over and over, and that's all they want to do, 8 comments in a row, they're going to be kicked out, because we want a positive community in here. It's not about can't take your L, can't face the music. Of course we can. And I come in here and I do it every time. I come in here and I say, look, I was wrong on this. I was wrong on that. I come in and face the music. What do we do with Brees and Fields? You bench them both until further notice, unless you have better options. That depends on your options, of course. $20 hauler for my boy Ian.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Ian, appreciate you, my boy. Coming in with a $20 hauler. 10-team PPR, single QB, 0-3. Can't buy a win. QBs are Hurts, Love. Running backs are Walker, Swift, Kamara. How are you not buying a win? Wide receivers, Lamb, St. Brown. You got a really good team. You cannot freak out about this team. You have one of the better teams that I think anybody here will say in the chat. Guys, tell him. Don't just say it because I said it. Tell him he is one of the best teams that we could probably come across. Even drafting now moving forward. You've got Hurts, fantastic. Walker, top 5 running back. Swift, top 10 running back right now. Kamara could be top 10 running back. Brees Hall, put him on the bench. Wide receivers, Lamb, St. Brown, Christian Watson's coming back. There's nothing to fear with this team. Is it wild to trade Hurts? I wouldn't trade him. I would sit tight. Listen to everybody in the chat right now. I almost guarantee you they're going to tell you that this team is absolutely phenomenal and that you shouldn't touch it. I'm telling you. That's how I feel. I believe everybody else in the chat is going to feel that way. Bryson with the $20 hauler. Bryson, appreciate you. Monica, appreciate you. 0-3, got A-Chain for $1 next week. Love A-Chain. Yeah, great job. Awesome job. Way to get him. He was definitely one of the best pickups of the week, all week long. A-Chain, even when we talked about him 2 or 3 weeks ago, is going to be preemptively one of the guys you want to get before the waiver wire show. Like, hey, you need to get him before. Preemptively, he will be on the waiver wire show next week, so pick him up now so you're not fighting for him. Great job getting him. Joey says, panic on Bijan. Absolutely not. Would I buy low? Yes. Am I a little worried about the usage? Sure. Bryson with the $20 hauler. What's everybody saying about his team, by the way? Just unlucky. It's a good team for sure. Be patient with Dameon Pierce. He had a good team for real. Solid team. Nice team. Unlucky. Swift top 10 back, says top MF laughing. Okay. I mean, he's, tell me 10 other running backs right now, aside from the obvious Christian McCaffrey and Walker. And those, tell me guys at like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 that just blow Swift out of the water, because that's a really good RB. $20 hauler.
alert. Super chat alert.
This one's from Bryson. 10-man PPR redraft, 2 flex, 1 QB. T-Law, Love. You're starting Love. Don't panic on Love. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a good second half. He's been playing without his number 1 and number 2 overall options. Both of them are out. Not one of them, both of them. And he's doing pretty well considering. Walker, Swift, fantastic. Maybe you bench Breece Hall. Ridley and Olave, St. Brown, you're fine. If you get a flex spot outside the 3 wide receivers, then Christian Watson comes back. Boom. Hawkinson, he's perfect. This team I wouldn't touch either. Rock with Swift, Walker, flex Watson instead of Hall. Absolutely exactly what I said before I even got to it, Bryson. We're on the same page. And I wouldn't even mess around with that team. You as well have a phenomenal squad that I would draft over again today. Clarice says he's entertaining but doesn't know anything about fantasy football. Okay. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome to stay for the entertainment if you want. I'm not even gonna boot you. I'm just telling you that you can go anywhere. You're not gonna see anybody hitting home runs across the board right now because the entire fantasy football landscape is in shambles. Like, it's in shambles. But trust your gut. Do what you can. As Kilpatrick said, start a channel. Anyway. His takes are trash. Okay, there you go. Well, go somewhere else then. If you're gonna be that, like, I don't know, unhelpful. It's okay if you're like, I like the show, I don't like your takes, but you're gonna continue to do it. Then go somewhere else. Tyler with the $10 super chat. I figured you could look at my team. I've been having to stream QBs: Baker, Love, Mixon, Connor, Hill, Sharps, and Gainwell, Cup, Higgins, Myers, London, Ayuk, Dotson, and Zay. Tight end Hawkinson. Look, Mixon, we'll see how he plays, see what you feel about him moving forward, see if there's trade value. Cooper Kupp's coming back. Higgins, we'll have to see what happens with Joe Burrow. I don't know that there's much trade bait right now for you until you let Higgins and Mixon go out and play. Connor could be sold high, but he's playing great. You could sell him high, try and go get maybe some sort of like Kamara JT using Connor and get some other player swap going on where maybe you swap Higgins out for a player you like better and you sell Higgins high too if he goes off or has a big game. You really are dependent on Ayuk coming back. You can't sell London until he does something. You can't sell really anybody but Connor right now. And you just got to be careful of selling him because he's somebody that you're leaning upon right now. But thank you for the super chat. You've got some options, but I think you do have to wait. You do have to wait. My vision with the $10 hauler, nothing attached, but I'll go look for it right now. Tyler says, I figured you could look at my... Oh, that was the one I just answered. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you. Definitely wait. Don't overreact. This one from River. River's 10-man league. PPR probably 0-3. Love, Adams, Olave, Bijan, Madison, Andrews, Evans, Puka, Mike Williams, Moss, JT. Start Puka or Evans. They're both on fire, bro. They're both absolutely on fire. I don't know how you sit one of them. Like, I mean, I hope you didn't. I mean, I'm not saying Mike Evans did good, but like, I wouldn't have been sitting Puka or Evans over Mike Evans. Mike Evans is now out for the season, so you don't have that problem. But I don't know how you make this decision. I suppose safety is Puka, higher risk because of, I don't know, the fact that I think Baker's playing well, but he's a little riskier to me. That's where you've got to, like, I guess, weigh it out. Like, do you want safety? Puka's pretty safe. Puka's going to get a ton of targets. Bryson with the $5. Smitty, you're my favorite YouTuber, and I love you. I look forward to your streams. You're the best. Don't let anyone get you down. I'm not down. I just, sometimes you get tired of some of the consistent negativity that comes in and is so quick to just point out bad without talking about both. It's, hey, you told me Connor wasn't going to do well this week. You're trash. It's like some of that gets to you on a Sunday. Most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time it rolls right off. But I'm a human being. And you know what? I'm honest. And when I'm feeling a certain way, I'll tell you. So, I'm an honest person. You get what you see. Don't sweat the haters, Smitty. Appreciate you, Trone. Don't worry about it. I'm not at all. I'm not at all. Ronnie coming in strong with a $5 moves. Fields, AR, Bijan, K9, Brees, Charbonnet, Sun God, Pickens, Flowers. Okay. Probably going 1 and 2 after tonight. Your moves are AR's your starter, obviously. K9 and Bijan don't touch. Maybe you sit Brees Hall. Let's see. Sun God, Pickens, Trust in Flowers, probably Christian Watson. Let it play out. I don't know that you're making any moves right now because what are you going to sell? You're going to sell K9 high? I don't know if I even like that idea because he's playing so well. Unless you go get a JT and a wide receiver you love. Unless you go get... Yeah, I'd probably just stay put. Your team's good. I like this team a lot. Let Watson come back. Let Flowers flourish, pun intended, and then play it by ear. I don't want you moving anything either. There's some of you that I think your teams look really good, and I don't want you to over panic or react, especially if you're 1 and 3. Like, that's not the end of the world. You still can come back from that. Got Garrett Wilson, Watson, JSN, Dotson, and Bijan, Gibbs, Kincaid. Love Fields. I snuck by two wins, but haven't broke 100 yet. What is my next move? 12-man league. You got to wait. You got to wait. Love goes in your lineup. Bijan and Gibbs, you have to be patient. There's no move unless you could trade Fields. I'm sorry, unless you could trade Gibbs for Kamara or JT straight up. There's no real move to make here. You have to wait on everybody. I wish I could tell you that there was a solid move to go maneuver right now, but there's not. Not with those guys all playing at a low. Nice work on GMing that though and getting 2 wins. That's very, very impressive given there's a lot of slumping going on. The funny thing is all the players have down games, but not every player puts up 20 every game, so there shouldn't be any negative comments about movement. Appreciate you, Bryson. We're only 3 weeks in. It's crazy. 3 weeks in. One big game, and everybody loved Bijan, whereas out of week 1, there's concerns. Gibbs did a lot better than people give him credit for. You averaged 4.7 yards a carry. It's a situation that is concerning for sure. All right, this game's starting, guys. I appreciate you all. This little show tonight isn't going to be too long. We're just going to end it here. 45-minute show, which is short for us. A lot of other shows go 45, 50 minutes, period. But that's a short one for us. But we're going to watch this game. I don't know that I'll be live after this game to break it down or not. It depends, but I'll definitely be live tomorrow at the 8 p.m. show, and then we'll be live after the Monday night game to do the live waiver wire week number 4 show. So I appreciate every single one of you. Appreciate all my super chats. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. Can't thank you enough. Please drop a like on your way out the door, and I appreciate every single one of you. Now go get them. Let's go. Whoever you're cheering for, Steelers, Raiders, and we'll talk tomorrow before the Monday night games. But Steelers have the football on the 35-yard line. Pickett throws. Incomplete. Let's hope. I want a little Jaylen Warren action tonight. I want a little Pickens action. Get out there, go win. Hopefully Najee does good enough you could sell him. He's definitely a sell high for me. I'll see you all tomorrow, or maybe tonight, but probably tomorrow. Thank you to my super chatters: Tucker, Josie, Laughlin, Freddie, Overcome, Lewis, Christian, Sick Nasty, Efren, Nick, Overcome, Derek, Ray, That Boy, Mac, Ronnie, Izzo, Jeffrey, Poyer, Tyler, Ian with the 20, Young, Joey, Monica, Bryson with the 20, Joey, Tyler, Vision, River, Bryson, Trone, Ronnie, KH3, Bryson, and then the last one from Efren. Don't worry about the haters, Smitty. It takes a lot of work, a lot of guts to do what you do, judging others. Don't worry about it, bro. I appreciate your super chatting, you saying the kind words. To the moon, Efren. I appreciate every single one of you. To the moon. See you tomorrow.